he sent me over a picture that had these 4 boxes in it, and when I saw what was in these boxes, it just blew my mind. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It is January 1st, 2023, and we are starting the year off with a bang. As you can see, the trunk to the Primetime Treasure Mobile is opened, and it is loaded with boxes. Now, normally when I have empty boxes like that, we are heading off to estate sales, garage sales, rummage sales, that sort of thing. We're gonna do plenty of that this year, but this is a little bit different. I am going out to do a private deal with somebody. And so this is something that I do from time to time. I don't always show the deals on the channel. Sometimes I do, like the 50,000 comic book collection. Don't worry, I'm not purchasing comic books today, but I'm gonna show you what I am going out to pick up. And this is the second part of a deal that I made a couple of days ago. So we're gonna talk through all this, and hopefully you could use the information in this video to make some of these deals yourself. Other people have told me they followed some of these tips in prior years and it's really helped out with their business. And hopefully, especially to new folks on the channel, it could help you out as well. So I'm gonna head over, get the items, bring it back, and I'll show you what we got. All right, in case you're wondering, we set up this meeting at noon in a public place out in the open with plenty of people around. It's just a good general safety tip to use. So he should be right around the corner here. So I'm gonna go meet up with him and we're gonna take care of business. All right, well, I just finished the deal, $200 for everything. Now that might sound like a lot in a vacuum because you haven't seen everything that I picked up yet, but you will see all of it soon. This figure alone, right now, the cheapest you could find it on eBay is $222 with 32 watchers. Intrigued? Let's go back to Primetime Treasure headquarters and dig into this some more.
So speaks Galactus.
He does speak. Isn't that pretty cool? Just press this little button here.
Who dares defy Galactus?
I would never dare defy you, almighty Galactus.
I am the devourer of worlds.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. The devourer of worlds. This is Galactus, folks, and he is this god creature in the Marvel universe, which is one of the things that makes him so popular. If you don't know anything about toys or about comics, you could still find valuable items out there. You just need to know a few things to look for. A talking feature to a toy is definitely a bonus. You remember the Teddy Ruxpin that I showed in a prior video.
I'm fine. I just tripped over this rock. Very interesting.
Also, if it's bright and colorful, that generally helps. You have a nice blend of purple and blue. And also, if it's a tall figure, he's pretty tall. Some say 19 inches. I actually measure him at 20 inches if you want to go up to the tip. Plus, the age is a factor. He dates back to 2010, made through Marvel Universe Masterworks. And that helps as well because there's just not a zillion of them around right now. Now he's up to 33 watchers, $222, the cheapest one you could find. That includes the shipping. Prior solds have been up to around $170 with him loose. So I'll probably list them somewhere in that $200 to $225 range. Now I didn't even factor him into the deal. I'm going to show you all of the other items that I got on this day 2 part of the deal. All of the other toys were in the original box. And that's why when I saw him in the picture that the person sent me, sorry there, Galactus.
Tremble at the might of the power cosmic.
All right. He does not like being touched. I don't want to touch him again or he's going to yell at me. So, he was the only loose figure. And so when I was adding up the potential value of everything there, I just didn't include it. And then when I got it, I was like, oh my God, this actually is, something that is going to really help me out with the deal because I could pretty much get my money back with this figure, and then everything else I'm going to show you here will be profit. And that's what you want to do in these kind of bulk deals like this, is you want to try to find an item or two where you can make most of your money back, and then the rest of it is all gravy from there. let's see what else came in this lot. All right, now Galactus has insisted on staying in full camera view, so I'm just gonna leave him be. I don't wanna get in trouble or have Primetime Treasure headquarters devoured, but we're gonna start with the figures right in front of him. Now, don't worry, they're not all gonna be comic book related, but I wanna start with this one because when I saw it in the photos that he sent me, my eyes lit up because I had this figure set several years ago when I bought out a prior toy collection. This is Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, and this is from the 1960s Batman television show, which is one of my favorites. It's another reason that I love it so much, and also a really cool shape to the box, and it's in a great shape. This is worth about $90. Now, back when I found it several years ago, you know, it was worth anywhere between like $70 and maybe $100. So it's maintained its value in the marketplace. Now, these estimates that I give you today, they're estimates. They're based off of recent completed sales as well as current availability in the marketplace. So I have to come up with a number, and that's what I actually use when I'm estimating the potential value for myself when I'm going to go ahead and make an offer. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. I did have a crush big time on Batgirl back in the day, and also Catwoman, Julie Newmar. So Mrs. Primetime does know, by the way. Don't worry, she knows. Anyway, all right, so let's get to the next item. Now, this one here, too bad it was not a real Castle Grayskull. As you know, I've had many of those in the past. This came out in 2013, and it's a mini Skeletor and He-Man. And you can see here, it turns around, it, you know, has ways for it to expand. Turns out it's worth around $20. I actually didn't even factor this into the price because it was just off to the side in the pictures, and I wasn't exactly sure what it was because there wasn't identifiable markings like you could see here on the bottom. So whenever stuff like that comes into play, I just don't factor it in when I come to my total price. In terms of things I did factor in, which would be this piece right here. This is a great one. This is one of the Simpsons set from the Treehouse of Horror. Now, this one, estimated value on it is about $80. You have a lot of cool figures in here, and the box is in terrific shape. Simpsons is very popular. Yes, they did put Simpsons into comics, but it's not really a comic book series. It's a lot of these figures are also based off of animated television shows. So that's that one. Then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, very, very popular. You're probably familiar with some of the Turtles figures. You could identify them based off of the different colored bandanas. This is Raphael with the red. They also have a female Ninja Turtle named Jenica. So there's lots of characters to know. This is another popular one you might come across, and it's important not to mistake him for Jason from Friday the 13th. His name is Casey Jones. This particular set is worth about $60. So that's the estimate that I would put on this one. And just an FYI, if you see these figures loose, they could also have value, particularly if they have the accessories with them. So that was another one. Then there was a great G.I. Joe set here, the Mass Device DVD. So really, really cool set here. You got a bunch of characters inside. As you can see, it's in excellent condition. Has the old price tag on it of $26.99 reduced, but current estimated value on this is around $70. So as you can see, we're really talking about some nice toys that have some really good value to them. One of my favorite ones, and I covered something similar to this in a prior video I did, which I'll link to, about the most valuable action figures. And one of them is an old He-Man Masters of the Universe figure called Scareglow. It kind of looks like this. This is not exactly Scareglow, though. This is a cool blend between two awesome franchises, Masters of the Universe and the World Wrestling Federation, or now known as World Wrestling Entertainment. And this is the Undertaker as Scareglow. So it's a cool blend of characters. They do this sometimes even in comic books where they blend characters together. So it's an interesting concept. This particular one here, I put a value on it right now is about $50 on this. Again, could go more, could go a little less, could go exactly the same. As many of you know, I am a Popeye fan. I grew up watching a lot of Popeye the Sailor Man cartoons. And we've got Bluto here. This is a cool one. It's got like a little cafe scene. It's a deluxe box set by 5 points. This one, estimated value on is about $35 on this one right there. Now, as you also know from watching me, one of my favorite TV shows and one of the items I like to collect are things related to the Munsters. So I love the Munsters, and as you can see here, we have some figures through Super 7. Now, this is a very important toy line to know. If you ever see it out in the wild, Super 7, very, very collectible, very popular. So we have Herman here, we have Lily here, and of course we have the lovable Grandpa here. They're each worth approximately 25 bucks a piece. So that would be 75 for all the figures. You could sell them individually, or you could try to lump them together as a set. All right, now another collectible line I like to look for is anything related to the Beetlejuice franchise. Now, I am not a huge fan of this movie, but there's a lot of people who are, including probably a lot of you watching. This is the Adam and Barbara wedding set. This one's worth about 18 bucks, but there are several different sets like this that came out with different characters. You can see on the back, there's some of them shown. So definitely something to look out for because it is popular. There are some other comic related ones here. You got to be careful when you're dealing with superhero action figures. Sometimes you can find ones that are worth good money, but other times you'll find some that are like really mass produced and aren't worth a ton. This Hulk one is worth about 13 bucks. The Spider-Man's worth about 18. Again, you could sell them individually, or you could put them together because they would, match up well. Hulk and Spider-Man have been together before in different storylines. Now, as many of you know, I am a Smurfs fan, and so I was delighted when I saw this Papa Smurfs figure made through Jax. That's a toy name you want to know as well. This company puts out a lot of great products. This one has an estimated value of about $20. Then we have, let's see here, we've got, going back into the comic area, What If, very popular storyline in comics, and this is a zombie Captain America. This one's estimated value is approximately 25. You can see the condition of the items is great. That's another thing to really factor in when you're looking over the items. Also, I ask the person before I go out there, I say, are there any condition issues with these items that I can't see? Because typically you're just going to get the front, maybe you'll get a little view of the side, but you're not, there's nothing like seeing it in person. So never commit 100% to your price until you get there. Don't try to be that person though who also goes and then tries to renegotiate the entire deal based off of, really nothing. Like, you have to have something substantive to really, try to negotiate further once you get there based on what had already been tentatively agreed to. All right, let's see what else we got here. Return of the Jedi. We've got a nice figure here. This is the Tebow figure. This one's worth about 30 bucks. So happy to have that one in the collection. Oh, one of the other things to point out here that helps to add to value is if you see the figure is what we call unpunched. So going back to the Munsters here, you can see this is what would typically be punched to hang on the tab when it's in the store on the peg. And it's actually worth more if it's not punched. So you want to use that term in your listing. That helps with the Munsters figures. It's one of the things I look for when I'm looking at collections. This one here is punched. It has been punched through, and that actually would decrease the value a little bit on that one. Then let's see here. We have another Star Wars figure. This is Darth Vader and Ahsoka Tano right there. So you could see we've got this one. It's about an $18 figure. And then there were, let's see, there were some, there's another Star Wars figure here. This one's actually a cool figure. I love this one, the Star Wars Droids one. A neat one, this C-3PO is about a $25 figure. So it's from the Adventures of R2-D2 and C-3PO. So I like having that one there. All right, we have a few more to go through. This is from the world of Nintendo. It is the main character from Metroid, which is one of the best video games of all time. I used to play it as a kid and absolutely loved it. This is through the toy company Jax that I mentioned earlier to you. It has an estimated value of about $35. Then there were a few toys through Hasbro that were Star Wars related. So we've got the Inquisitor from the Star Wars Rebels line. I like the Stormtrooper backdrop. This one has a value of about 15 bucks. And then there were some that I didn't even factor into the overall price because they're worth like 10 bucks or less. So these are the Star Wars Resistance figures, and once they start to look so modern and cartoony like this, it's kind of a guide that the value's likely going to be low. I mean, you should always double check, but that is the case on these. Now, I could combine them together and sell them as a lot, but individually, I'm just not going to factor it into the price, because you need to build some insurances for yourself, because like I said, not everything is always going to sell for what you estimate it for. You have to factor in the possibility that you might get a return, something could break in transport, so you have to build in that insurance for yourself. And one of the ways that you also go about doing that is by the initial price that you offer if the person who you're buying from is not willing to give you a price. You'll run into this a lot where the person selling to you will say, well, make me an offer, and they won't give it to you. So you've got to be conservative in those instances, because you don't know what the person is going to say back to you. So you want to be more towards the low end. So what I do is I take this estimate with a few things taken out, and then I take a third of that number. So in this case, we got to a number of 676. Again, that doesn't include the Galactus, doesn't include the Star Wars figures, and doesn't include the Castle Grayskull replica that I showed you earlier. And so we take that number, divide it by 3, that gives you 225, and then I take a little bit off of that. So I round it down to 200, threw that number out, and he said that works for me. And that's perfect, that's great. So overall, for all the value that we have here, which is, getting close to like, $900 actually, maybe even a little more, we'll wind up seeing eventually, but this was definitely a nice added bonus and treat into it. All of a sudden I have to serve him now? What do you want? Water? No, I don't think he likes water. All right, I'll give you some dew. Here you go. Let's get something else. All right, now this deal would not have been possible if it wasn't for the deal that happened on the first day. So let me take you over there and show you what I got. All right, so this is the first part of what I got from the first collection. I'll show you the second part in just a moment. The reason these items are all here on this shelf is because I already have them listed in my eBay store. Now, the reason why this person is selling all of these toys is because they take up a lot of space, and his wife is telling him there's limits and he wants to get more toys, so he has to get rid of these. So it works out great for a reseller because he's buying them at full price, and then he's just offloading them to get more cash so we could buy more toys. So I've done this with other collections as well, including with comic collectors. So anyway, you could see why these things take up a lot of space. This is Stridor. This is He-Man's horse. And I have this one listed right now for 40 bucks. But you can see it's big toy, takes up a bunch of space. So then we also have Skelegod from the Masters of the Universe Revelation series. I have this one listed right now at $18. Then if you want to see what Skeletor looked like before he became Skeletor, we have Keldor, and this is Trapjaw before he became Trapjaw. So this one, this Rise of Evil set, I have listed right now for $19. I mean, some of you are probably drooling over this stuff if you're like me, because Masters of the Universe is my favorite cartoon and action figure set when I was a kid. This one is the Wind Raider. This one I have listed right now for $45. He-Man uses this as well to defeat his enemies in the air. And then we also have Prince Adam's Sky Sled. This one I have listed for $27. Important tip, I mentioned this in my shipping tip video. If you didn't see it, it's 100 shipping tips in 10 minutes. If you're sending anything out that you think is going to go into a box that could exceed 18 inches, you want to make sure that you select economy shipping 1 to 10 days, because that allows you then to select any service, whichever one is cheaper. And you'd be surprised how cheap you could ship some of this stuff out for, you know, sometimes like $8-9 depending on the service and where the person lives. Okay, so this all came total to $149, and that's pretty much what I have into the collection. I offered $150, and that's what he took. Now, how I got to that number, I'll explain to you. Remember, there's a second part of this collection I got on the first day. Let me show you the second part. Hey, no peeking in there.
Who is so ignorant as to confront Galactus?
They're not confronting you. They're just looking up from the bottom of the toy box. This guy's, what an ego trip he's got. Oh my goodness. But anyway, all right, I'll let you look on. I'll let you look on. What we have in here, folks, are 22. Did you do that? 22 Masters of the Universe figures. So check it out. I mean, it's really cool. It's a nice, cool battle armor Skeletor. That's a big one. And then we've got Eternian Goddess. We've got Fisto. We've got, now some of them are punched, some of them are unpunched. We've got the Evil Hordak as well. We've got two versions of Trapjaw. So we have the original blue version, and then we have the yellow version as well. Is it okay if I put them next to you, Mr. Galactus? We have the classic Man-at-Arms. We've got this really cool Ram Man with all these accessories. So that's a neat one. Merman and Triclops, one of my favorite characters is Triclops. So you could do things like, these are both part of the original villain series, and what you could do is you could combine them together in a lot, and that will help you save on shipping, because that's an important thing they have to keep in mind. You know, depending on how you set up your shipping, there's shipping costs and there's fees that, you know, you have to account for when you sell. We've got Evil Lyn. So that's why you have to use that rule of a third when you're making the offer. We've got Stratos here as well. Let's see who else we have here. Okay, now this is important. I knew this ahead of time that this had been trimmed down for some reason, so we cut that off. So there's a total of 22. I only factored in 20 in terms of the overall price when I made the offer. So this is just kind of like something thrown in. I'll be able to sell it in some way, but again, because it was trimmed, I didn't factor it in. This is the other one that was trimmed. This is Man-E-Faces, so you have to pay attention to that. Plus you can see there's damage on the back, but that essentially came in at no additional cost in terms of the way I figured it out. We've got this Beastman figure. Oh, and that reminds me, with the Trapjaw, and this is what I was talking about why you've got to be conservative when you make the offers, is there's going to be surprises. So when I showed up, I found this. See, this has been cut on the corner like this. Now, given that this was a first deal and this wasn't that big of a deal to me, and there's only one figure that had this on it, I didn't let it affect the overall price. And again, I'll show you when I calculate everything, how I account for things like that are going to inevitably happen when you buy bulk lots. We've got Jitsu. We've got Stinkor, the stinky character. We've got Skeletor as well. And my gosh, it just keeps going. We've got Tila. I'll put some of these back in. We've got, of course, we have the original He-Man. This is crazy, right? We've got Battle Armor He-Man as well. I'm just loving this stuff. Buy stuff that you love, folks. Buy stuff that you love. Now this one here, okay, this is just like a little sticky thing that happened to be on it. So we got Merman. So that's great. It looks like we have two mermans then. All right, we have two mermans. So overall, everything came to, let me get my numbers here. I wrote them down. All right, so before I give you the total, I have my little cheat sheet here. I would estimate the value of these figures to be between about $16 to $20 a piece. So let's just take $17.50 as a midpoint just to make it simpler. And so that would give you $350 for 20 figures. So again, I'm not counting in the other two as part of that. So $500 total with the 149. So 350 plus 149, about $500. Divide that by 3, that gives us 166. Then I round down a little bit to take into account things like that trap jaw that was cut on the corner. And that gives me 150. And that's what I offered, $150. He took the offer, and that then led to the second offer. And for all I know, that's going to lead to even more offers down the road, because he told me that he has more toys available. So I get a sense that I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm looking forward to see if any more deals come down the pike. All right, well, surprise, surprise, it's the next day, January 2nd, and the guy contacted me again with more pictures of more toys. And he said, hey, I've got more if you want to make a deal. So I sent him an offer. He sent me back a counter. But before I could respond to the counter, he sent me even more items on top of that. And so I said, all right, here's the price I could do overall, not even factoring in the counter offer. And he said, yeah, I could do that. Absolutely. So I'm off now to do my biggest deal with this person in terms of the overall cost and the types of items that I'm getting. So I've got some boxes here in the Primetime Treasure Mobile, and I will show you what I wind up getting. It's incredible. All right, well, I just finished our third and biggest deal so far. As you can see behind me, we've got a Castle Grayskull, and I have 4 boxes, and what's in these boxes is worth hundreds of dollars. Plus I have more stuff, so let's get back to PTHQ and check out the score. Check it out, Galactus. Castle Grayskull, man. I mean, this is awesome. What do you think?
You will witness the end, for I am power incarnate.
Whoa, sound effects too. Wow. Yeah, so he's pretty excited. Now, this is not an original Castle Grayskull. This is a modern Castle Grayskull that was designed for 2021. But as you can see, it is in the box and it's in great shape. He did open it, but that was just to check the inner contents. So there's nothing that has been, taken away or anything like that. It's a complete set. Now, if this was the original 1980s Castle Grayskull, which you've seen me have many times in the past, and if that was in the original box, that would be worth many hundreds of dollars. But this one, right now, you could get it for as low as $75 to $85. So remember, when you're coming up with these estimates, it's very important that you have to start at the low end of what you think you might get. So I could come up with examples of this selling for $100 or more, but you cannot use that as your estimate because you have to assume the worst case scenario so that you don't overpay for the item. All right, other toys included as part of this lot is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mighty Metalhead by NECA. This is a high-end premium toy company. If you ever see NECA toys, whether they are in the box or they are loose, they are highly desirable and valuable. This one here is worth about $60. Now, another toy company that is very important to be on the lookout for is Super 7, and you could see that right here. I know the toy collectors are loving this right now. So this is Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, and this one is worth about $50. Again, I'm going on the low end with this stuff. Now, there's another set included, and this is a G.I. Joe Cobra set. This was part of the 25th anniversary. This one's pretty tricky to find. They made multiple 25th anniversary sets with different characters. Fortunately for me, this is the one that is actually worth more. So this one, the value on it is about $80. So this is all stuff that was sent to me in this wave of photos for this third deal. Now, there were some other pictures that he sent me of figures that were in the bag. And we are going to go back to the company that I mentioned earlier, NECA. Now, what we have here is one of the NECA figures, and they're really nicely detailed and just very high craftsmanship and quality. This is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character Casey Jones, and he comes with the foot soldier, and all of the accessories are here, and they are all complete. Now, just Casey Jones with the accessories, so not including the foot soldier, loose is about $155. So that's what I'm talking about with NECA figures. Very important to look out for them. Another one here is April O'Neil, and this is also from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and she is pretty desirable. Now, she also comes with the foot soldier, but just April O'Neil with the accessories and all this stuff is in the bag. This is about $175 figure. Again, we're talking loose, not in the box, but complete with the accessories. So fortunately for me, since this guy's a toy collector, he kept all the accessories in these bags, so you know they would be complete whenever he wanted to pass them on to somebody else. Another one that he had, this is crazy. Oh my God, it's just amazing. I love this character, by the way. Shout out to Chris from Crispy's Toys and Treasures if he's watching this, because I know how much he loves toys and the turtles. I want to be careful with this so I don't mess it up, but this is Leatherhead. Look how cool he is. Another awesome figure right here. We've got the foot soldier. We've got another turtle in here as well, as you can see. So we've got lots of accessories in here. Like just the Leatherhead himself, just him, he's worth about $54. And then, like I said, we have other figures in there too. So on a very conservative end of it, an estimate for this, again, on the low end would be about $649, $650, something like that. So divide that by 3 and you get $216. So $216, I throw out an offer of $150 for two main reasons. Number one, again, you have to protect yourself in these situations. So even though I estimated on the low end that April O'Neil should sell for about $175, what happens if she sells for $150? Well, that's where lowering the price lower than that third helps out with that situation and gives you a little extra cushion. And also, since we're dealing with higher end toys now, I have to consider the possibility that whatever number I throw out, I'm going to get a counter offer thrown my way. And that's what happened in this situation. I threw out the offer of $150 and he sent me back a counter offer of $180. So you want to make sure when you're putting in that offer that it's at least respectful enough that someone feels comfortable countering you. Like you don't want to offer like, you know, $50 or something like that. It's got to be within reason, considering you're buying a bulk lot off of somebody who is also asking you to throw out the price first. So as he sent me over that offer and I looked at it, without me even having a chance to respond, he sent me over a picture that had these 4 boxes in it. And when I saw what was in these boxes, it just blew my mind. So I'm going to give you a hint here. You could see we have that company name again, Super 7. We should turn it around and open it up. Let's see, maybe Galactus could pump us up a little bit. He hungers. Oh, wait till he sees inside, because he's going to be hungry for some She-Ra. I think he's going to like himself some She-Ra. So let me open this up. I try to make sure I don't cause any tears or anything like this in the box. So let me gently wiggle this out of here. All right, here we go. Getting it out. Now you can see we've got the Castle Grayskull imagery on the outside of the box. And then we just push up from the bottom and rises She-Ra. How cool is this? Take it out a little bit more so you can see. Really nice. Princess of Power herself. This one is worth about $150, and that's on the low end. So that's what I'm talking about. I was like, wow, I can't believe he's got this stuff. This is amazing. Hey, Galactus, give me one of your best pickup lines.
Will witness the end, for I am power incarnate.
What was in the other 3 boxes? Manny Faces, which is worth about 100, Fisto, which is worth about 80, and Laughing Prince Adam, which is worth about $60. This is a 2018 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which is why you see these cool sparkles on the back of it. So when I add these 4 boxes into the mix, that gives me a grand total of $1,039 in estimated value. And you divide that by 3, you get $346. So I threw out a number of $275. I did not even factor in the additional $30 that he had put when he said $180, because before I had a chance to respond to that, he sent me these additional photos of the Super 7 toys. I threw out the number $275. He said that works for me, and we closed our 3rd deal. So I am blown away. I cannot believe how 2023 has started. And for all I know, he's going to have more. Oh, speaking of more, when I picked up the toys, he just threw these in too. He's like, here, you could have these extra Star Wars toys. So I haven't even comped these and looked into these yet. And then he had something else here, which I will just sell this on my Whatnot shows. This is a Star Wars Bounty Hunter variant comic book. So if you are not following me on Whatnot, please make sure you follow me over there. The link is down below, and you can get a $15 credit there. I sell mostly comic books there, and Mrs. Primetime is there as well. You can interact with her. She does jewelry shows on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I do my comic show Wednesday at 9, and usually Saturday at 8 p.m. So it's a lot of fun. That credit of $15, if you use that, then I get a credit too, so it helps everybody. So yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you over there, and who knows, maybe there'll be even a 4th deal before I wind up finishing up this video. All right, everyone, it is a rainy day outside, but it is a sunny day for me. He just contacted me for a 4th time, and this is our biggest and best deal yet. A $400 deal. The stuff in here is insane. I can't wait to show it to you. I'm gonna go pick it up now and we'll talk about it. All right, congratulations if you got this far, because this is by far the most insane part of the video. I didn't intend for it to be this long, but he just kept calling me back and giving bigger and better deals. Now, before I get into this, and there's stuff here that is so awesome that you can't even see right now because it's hidden behind some of these boxes. But before I go into that, let me give you a brief update on something that sold today. I started listing a couple of the other items besides some of those Masters of the Universe ones that I showed you earlier in the video. Now, this is something from the 2nd deal that I did. If you remember, I said that estimates of this vary between $70 to $100. So I listed it for $100, not knowing if someone was going to send me an offer, because I do best offer. And within a half an hour, someone bought it at $100. So I am thrilled with that. I had given you an estimate of about 90. So very, very happy when something like that happens. But you can't always assume that something like that is going to happen. So sometimes you wind up listing things a little lower than the estimate. And this is a good example. When I had shown this to you originally, I said $80, but I wound up listing it for $65 because it has a little bend here in this flap here, so that takes some of the value down, and someone has one listed right now for $70. So however, I'm very happy because I got a nice chunk of my money back just from one toy. And if you remember, I got a lot of great stuff in that lot, so it's going to make it very easy for this to be profitable. And that's what should happen with all of these lots. So let's dig into this one. So we talked previously about the Super 7 line through Masters of the Universe, and turns out we've got another one here. This is the Sorceress. You could see here There's the Super 7 logo, and there's the figure here. This is worth about $150. So I technically put in like $148 for value. And then this one is even better. One of my favorite characters of all time, Trapjaw. I absolutely love him. Had him as a kid. This is through Matty Collector, also super, super popular. This one value estimate on it is about $165. So just bonkers. Let's go into another Masters of the Universe. This one is Ram Man. This is also another Super 7 toy. So you could see the logo is right there. This one is valued at about $180. We're just at 3 toys, folks. This is absolutely crazy. All right, I had to pause the video for a moment because Galactus is getting a little upset. He does not like that this Simpsons toy is in his way, so we're gonna move it out of his way so there's no problems. All right, Galactus, is that all right? Let's see what he has to say here.
You serve me now.
All right, listen, you're really not that tough bossing around Simpson characters, especially bossing around good old Itchy and Scratchy. It's the Itchy and Scratchy show. All right, I won't take up singing, but I feel like singing because this is an awesome toy through Kid Robot. It's shaped like the television box. Simpsons fans watching this should appreciate it. It's worth about $85, so happy to add another Simpsons toy to the mix. So we'll just put this one right over here. Now, next to Galactus, we have the Wind Raider. This does not come with the box. It's from the Masters of the Universe Classics line, and it's worth about 50 bucks. Now, the wings are separable. You want to separate them when shipping or else they are going to snap off. You could also take this off of the base, so it's important to protect all of these things really well when sending them out. Now, this is the Point Dread and the Talon Fighter. Now, this thing is absolutely massive. It's huge, and it's really beautiful to look at. Displays very well. It is separable, so these Talons, they come right off of the base there, and so you know you could create 2 separate pieces. This is worth about 75 bucks, so you know, give or take. All right, now the next one here is Night Stalker. Skeletor loves to gallop around in him, and this is pretty big, as you can see. The comps on this were weird. When I looked it up, someone had one listed at $32.50, and that's what I went off of. But it turns out that it has already sold. Some of these things sell fast. Now the next available one is at $90. So, you know, we'll see what happens with it, but this is a great one to have added into the mix because it's definitely a popular one. Now for Disney fans, we have the Gargoyle character. I could actually open this up. It has these hook and loop flaps, or we could say Velcro on YouTube, everybody. And this one has a value of about $40. Sorry about the glare. Let me put this over here. Then for Turtles fans, we have Chrome Dome, folks, and this one here is through NECA. So it is another NECA toy. I could open this one up as well. So here you go. And this one has a value of about $40. So, you know, we'll see what happens with it. There's some smaller Eternia miniature creatures here. I didn't even factor these into the price. And, you know, even, it's funny because I've told you that in a prior section of the video, and he actually said the same thing to me. He's like, you know, I just throw these things in for you. So I'm glad I didn't assign an actual value to him because he wasn't even putting a value. Now, I can sell them as a lot and get some money out of it, but these are kind of things, by the way, that it's normal for a bulk deal transaction. Happens almost every time. No matter what you buy in bulk, you're gonna find usually some extras that are thrown in there, you know, that you could just, you know, do something with. All right, now we have a few G.I. Joe toys that came with this lot as well. So we have Crocmaster and Fiona. I love anything with crocodiles and alligators, as you know. So this one goes for about $28. Then we also have the Paoli brothers. They go for about $25 a piece individually. These I would lot together and probably put a price of about 50 bucks on them. So that will help in terms of saving with shipping costs and stuff. And then also, I love this guy, Sergeant Slaughter. Love Sergeant Slaughter. Grew up watching him in his heyday, in his prime, no pun intended. This one goes for about 35 bucks. All right, we're going to look at our last batch here. Now, these are all loose figures through the Masters of the Universe line, but you want to pay attention to these as well, because as you're going to see here, these could have some significant value associated with them. So this is a great example. This is Jitsu. Now, he is worth about $150 loose when he's complete. So you see, he does have his vest here, but some of you who are Masters of the Universe fans might say, but wait, he doesn't have his weapons. He doesn't have his weapons. Well, the weapons are here in this separate accessory bag. So I do have the weapons, and I'll just put those on later when I do the listing. Now, we also have Tila, and you can see the detail on these are just really incredible, and that's why they're worth a lot of money, and they're also, you know, made with very good craftsmanship, a great quality. She's worth about $75 loose and complete. So all these numbers I'm giving you are loose and complete. They're conservative estimates. This is Evil Lynn. Shout out to Metal Flippin' Mel, who is probably watching this. Go follow her on Instagram at Muppet Mel. And I know she's gonna love this. She's worth about 70 bucks. Now we've got Orko. And back in the day when I had Orko from the 1980s line, he was just a loose figure like this. He stopped here. And there was, I remember there was like a little zip you could pull out at the bottom and he would like spin around or something. But he's supposed to float in the air. So what they did is they made this little stand for him here. And so he could stand up. He's worth about 60 bucks. All right, now the last one we have here is Faker. He is an evil copy of He-Man. You can see he's blue colored though, and he has different colored hair and boots and stuff. So good news and bad news about him. Now, the bad news, potentially, is that the vest is not here. I thought it was in the accessory bag. My bad for not checking that. So I do have a text message into the guy who sold it to me. He's not going to be in town for a couple more days, so I'll check when he gets back. Hopefully, he could find it. Even if he can't find it, though, of course, it will still sell. One of the reasons that it's still going to have some value, though, and I didn't know this until I got there, and this is one of the things that actually distracted me about this, is that normally when you see the head, because the head could be removed, you don't normally see this robot head. So this is going to add some value to it. How much value, I'm not sure. You see, in the accessory bag, we do have the head that is normally seen, which is this one here. So if he had the vest and with the regular head, he's worth about 45 bucks. Hopefully we could get that vest in a few days. And we've got this robot head. So I'm not sure. It would have been worth 45 bucks without this head and with the vest. So I don't know. We'll still just say maybe like 45. I'm not sure. We'll see. Overall, for everything, we're somewhere in the ballpark of $1,350 to $1,400 on a conservative estimate for this. So I offered him 400 bucks. Again, not knowing, you know, given this type of stuff, he's going to come back with a counter. But sometimes people surprise you and they say, I'm good. And that's what he said. He said, I'm good. That works for me. 400 bucks. In this instance, I did give him a check from my business account because I don't like riding around with $400 in cash, and he was cool with that. So that's just how we did it. So if you're interested in making these kind of deals, it is something that you can work up towards if you are just starting out. If you've been doing this for a long time and you're ready to do deals like this and you haven't done it yet and you want to know, hey, how do I take out ads like this and social media? What exactly should I say? Where do I do it? I have a whole video about that and I'm going to link to it right up top. So go click on that and go to my video about how to make these kind of deals on Craigslist, on Facebook Marketplace. So you'll see all the details about it there. So let me know what your favorite toy was. I would definitely say that this is overall across the 4 days, this has to be the best toy collection I have ever purchased. Now I know there's people who, you know, some people may be watching this who've bought out an entire house full of toys or an entire toy store or something like that. But for me, this is my personal best. I mean, I'm super excited. So we're gonna get this stuff listed now, and we'll see what happens with it. So stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram, prime_time_treasure. I'll be putting some information there about some of these completed sales, and that's where to go to find that stuff out. All right, let me know what your favorite toy was in the comments section. Tell me what you think overall about this, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care, everyone.